Hey everyone, welcome to the Shakespearean and April Fool's edition of CHS Radio. I'm your host, Corey, and I'm just here to say, I'm taking over. April Fools! Anyway, we have a super fun-filled episode coming up, but first I am being cued to talk about the podcast in Shakespearean. Alright, here we go. CHS Radio is a podcast runneth by Calvert Academy High School students. Our goal is to educate, inform, and co-equal maketh thee chuckle a little. Concluded be it, lest I'm not going to waste any more time talking. Shall we dive right into this episode, starting with the announcements presented by Olivia.
Good morrow to you, sir, everyone. This is Olivia back with thy announcements. First off, we hast a big announcement, straight from Ms. Rodachi. Everyone is required to hast a Skype. Thee can then talk to thy peers, and 'twilt replace all thy courseworketh. I mean to mock you after. April Fools! Now, on a more serious note, I would like to remind everyone that National Teacher Appreciation Day is Tuesday, May 3rd. That's all I hast for thee the present day. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Looking for a new movie to gaze upon? Wanteth to knoweth what's coming to theaters soon? Isabel hath thee covered in our movies segment.
Good morrow to you, sir peoples! This is Isabel bringing you the latest news on movies in April. First up is God's Not Dead 2, which came out on April 1st, rated PG. Personally, I loved God's Not Dead so much, it made me cry, so of course I'm excited for the second movie. But then again, The Good Dinosaur made me cry a bit too. Belarus spy spot. Anywho, back on topic. In God's Not Dead 2, a student asks a question about Jesus, so the junior high teacher answers the question. Although, in turn for the teacher's answer, she has to visage a court case that could maybe end the lady's career. On April 15th, The Jungle Book, rated PG, finally cometh out. Bam! I don't know about thou, but I am so excited for this movie. At which hour I was little gaze at the cartoon all the time. Speaking of which, thou needed to hark to I Wanna Be Like You by Fall Out Boy. Just amazing. Anywho, Mowgli hath raised by a family of wolves since birth. Now that gent must leave the only home he's ever known, at which hour the fearsome tiger, Shere Khan, unleashes his mighty roar. I'm not sure wherefore Mowgli hath to leave because of a roar, but it will probably make it sense in the movie. But Concluded, be it with the guidance of a stern panther and a free-spirited bear, the young knave meeteth a array of jungle animals, including a slithery python and a smooth-talking ape. Along the way, Mowgli learneth a valuable lesson, because they all do, as his vast journey of self-discovery leadeth to excitement and adventure. Woo! Okay. Last but not least, on April 22nd, The Huntsman, Winter Waves, rated PG-13, is out. This movie appeals to many of those who love fantasy, so yeah. Let's see what the description says, because I'm kind of confused by this movie. And I quote, When Fairy, a young queen who frees the lady enemies in Ith, learneth the demise of that lady's sister, the evil Ravenna, the lady summons that lady soldiers to recover the magic mirror. After resurrecting Ravenna, the two wicked sisters amass a seemingly indestructible army that threatens the kingdom. Only the skills of Eric and Sarah, two warriors who defied Farah by falling in love, I don't know what happened to Snow White, by falling in love, can save this enchantment land from forces of darkness. Yep, Now, only hasn't one thing that's bothering me a gross amount, as I hinted before. This is the sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman, so wherefore is the huntsman falling in love with another wench that's not Snow White? I mean, there's a few or none that will entertain it, but I bet those gents will just saith Snow White hath kicked the bucket. Kicked the bucket means died in Shakespearean, by the way. Or something no more brain than a stone like that. Yep, well, forsooth, like April is a slowest month for movies because there are no more movies for me to bore thee with. I knoweth. So depressed, but behold at the bright side. I beast be back with the next segment with more movies to talk your ear off with. Bye, guys.
We interrupt this podcast for a special announcement. Dr. Rad hath recently released a new single, and coincidentally enough, 'tis about Shakespeare, and we're going to maketh thy heareth it.
Shakespeare was one cool dude, although some of his characters often had a tude. I love you says one, I hate you said another, but when it's all said and done, they all deserve each other. I will speak daggers to her, but use none, Hamlet said, instead of getting the job done. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Juliet cries to her lover like a cawing crow. Why, then the world's mine oyster, says Pistol. Yet that saying's just as great as some fine crystal. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, and nope, at that there weren't many loud cheers. And one of the best, to be or not to be, so asking questions isn't just for me. And if you want to know who it is that undermines, you gotta read his plays to find out more, and you'll find out that there are lines galore. But before I quickly run out of time, I have to say Shakespeare is really into rhyme. He also wrote some poetry in his day, using the absolute best season, hooray! He wrote, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" That's enough Shakespeare for today, so now let's go out to play.
If it be true thou hast been listening to our podcast for a while now, thee would knoweth that many of us hast a fond bond with television. To help thee stayeth in the knoweth with all the latest shows, new seasons, and cancellations, we present to thee the TV division, hosted by Rachel.
Good morrow, all. 'Tis Rachel hither, welcoming thee back to CHS Radio's TV division. Want to know what got renewed, what is new, and what hangs in the gallows? Get thee hence thy umbrella's mark, for thee are about to find it out. We hast a boatload of news for this issue, though I am quite joyous to say it that 'tis mostly good. As at each moment we will commence with the troublesome news. Satisfaction was cancelled by USA after 2 seasons. Amazon's original dramedy Mad Dogs was cancelled after 1 season. The beloved medical drama Royal Pains is ending after 8 seasons. I suppose all good things must cometh to an end. Freeform's drama Switched at Birth is ending after 5 seasons. ABC's brand new drama of Kings and Prophets was cancelled after 2 episodes. That is quite unfortunate. And finally, BBC's period drama Ripper Street is ending after its 5th season. The final season hath already entered production and is expected to air anon later this year. On to greener pastures. Fox's crime drama Bones was renewed for a 12th and final season. NCIS was given another 2 seasons, which means it got renewed through season 15 by CBS. Heartbreakingly, however, Michael Weatherly, who playeth Tony, will be leaving the show after its current season. I suppose 'tis time, but I am despaired to see one of mine highest in estimation characters wend. Additionally, though, unsurprisingly, the show celebrated its 300th episode last month, season 13, episode 17. The long-running medical drama Grey's Anatomy was renewed by ABC for a 13th season. Netflix's semi-original comedy Fuller House was renewed for a 2nd season. TV Land's new comedy Teachers will be getting a 2nd season. In a string of ABC renewals, Once Upon a Time was picked up for a 6th season. I would also like to note that Once Upon a Time was translated to Yor. Yor was picked up for a 6th season. ABC's drama Quantico was ordered a 2nd season. Another ABC drama Scandal was renewed for a 6th season. The hot new legal drama on ABC How to Get Away with Murder was renewed for a 3rd season. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was renewed for a 4th season by ABC and will be returning this fall. ABC's comedy The Goldbergs was renewed for a 4th season. Another ABC comedy, Fresh Off the Boat, is getting a 3rd season. Modern Family, yet another ABC comedy, was renewed for an 8th season. ABC's comedy The Middle will be returning this fall with an 8th season. An ABC reality show with Shark Tank was renewed for an 8th season as well. In case thee got restless of hearing these words, ABC's comedy Blackish was renewed for a 3rd season, again returning this fall. Another ABC reality show, Dancing with the Stars, was renewed for a 23rd season. Raiseth thy hand if thee shrieked when Corbin Bleu did a Wildcats number. What? Oh, they can't see me? Right, because this is radio. Right, so Disney veteran Emily Osmond's comedy Young and Hungry was renewed by Freeform for a 4th season. AMC's shiny new action drama Into the Badlands was renewed for a 2nd season. Mine friends, the time is now. The time for CW renewals is upon us. Prepare to shriek. Arrow was renewed for a 5th season. Its spin-off The Flash was renewed for a 3rd season. The new spin-off of both shows, Legends of Tomorrow, was picked up by the CW for a 2nd season. The CW's amazing crime drama iZombie was renewed for a 3rd season. Crazy Ex-Girlfriends, a new dramedy over on the CW, hath been ordered a 2nd season. Another dramedy, Jane the Virgin, was renewed by the CW for a 3rd season. The CW's drama The Originals was renewed for a 4th season. The Vampire Diaries is getting an 8th season. Reign was renewed for a 4th season. By the gods, what is the world anymore? Supernatural was renewed for a 12th season. As I said, all good things must come to an end, which is why this show died somewhere around season 5. Okay, shh, I still like it, please don't hurt me. CW's sci-fi drama The 100 was renewed for a 4th season. WGN's new drama Outsiders hath taken a 2nd season. Freeform renewed Shadowhunters, its TV adaptation of The Mortal Instruments, for a 2nd season. AMC's drama Better Call Saul was renewed for a 3rd season. Fox's drama Gotham was renewed for a 3rd season as well. And finally, the History Network's period drama Vikings was renewed for a 5th season. Now that the renewals hast hogged most of this segment, alloweth us to jump right into the new shows. NBC hath a new drama called Game of Silence coming out on April 7th. It follows 5 friends with a dark secret that resurfaces after 25 years. Sci-Fi releases its new drama Hunters on April 11th. This one follows the disappearance of a Philadelphia cop's wife. Oh! None other than Julian McMahon, who you may knoweth from Charmed or Nip Tuck, is on the cast list for this series. The CW hath a new drama premiering on April 19th called Containment. This one is about a huge quarantine following the outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And lastly, Fox hath a new crime miniseries airing on May 2nd called Houdini and Doyle. According to the show's page on Fox.com, 'tis inspired by true events. The series follows Harry Houdini and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the pair grudgingly enlisted to join New Scotland Yard in investigating unsolved and inexplicable crimes with a, quote, supernatural slant. I doth not knoweth about thee, but that hypnosis just kept getting better. Ho. Not to mention, Harry Houdini will be played by none other than Michael Weston. And no, not the one from Burn Notice, though to be fair, that gent wast in one episode. Onwards and upwards, mine friends, we are losing daylight. A quick bit of news, 'twas announced that the 5th and final season of Persons of Interest will be airing in May. Alright, so we all knoweth what is very much important hither. While most of the headlines are chattering about Dean and Jest being the next Batman vs. Superman, the news I didst come across for the Gilmore Girls revival 'tis pretty major. First on the list is a return that managed to slip through the cracks. Liz Torres will be reprising her role as the lovable Miss Patty. Next is a bit of an update on the whole Melissa McCarthy situation. Palladino has explained that she figured McCarthy's schedule would not be able to fit the revival, hence her not being asked back. By the time anything was brought up, she actually was too busy to returneth and confirmed that she will not be able to reprise her role as Suki St. James. But shockingly enough, Jackson, Suki's husband, is returning to the show. Now this may be minor league news to some of thee, but it has been confirmed that Rory will be single at the beginning of the revival. Lastly, and most exciting of all, a photo of some props was leaked. What is so special about these props, thee asketh? Oh, not much. Just the markings on the tag that labels them as props for the wedding scene. No big deal. Nope, we're not freaking out. We are all halcyon, which apparently means calm. Unfortunately, this amount of news did not leaveth any time for a recommendation, so that is all for me for now. However, if thee would like to recommend a show for me to gaze, or if thee need someone to shriek over Gilmore Girls with, thee can doth so over at chsradio.tumblr.com/ask. Plus, if thee want to keepeth an eye on my unhealthy TV habits, thee can add me on followmy.tv as Dragonlord. Farewell for now, friends.
The 2016 elections keepeth getting closer and closer, and we hast a segment to keepeth thee up to date with everything going on in debates and the race. Here is Campaign Brain with Olivia.
Hello listeners, this is Olivia and I am back with quite a lot to tell you during this segment of Campaign Brain. If you guys have been following the news, you may know some of the information, but I'm going to recap the results of a bunch more primaries and caucuses. I will also be giving you another interview, this time of a local teenage girl who attended a caucus with her parents. Let's start with all of the caucus and primary information. To make it a little easier on myself and on you guys, I'm going to go candidate by candidate and list the states they have won. For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton has won Nevada, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, Virginia, Massachusetts, American Samoa, Louisiana, and Mississippi, for a total of 12 states. Bernie Sanders has won Oklahoma, Colorado, Vermont, Minnesota, Kansas, Nebraska, Maine, and a state he was projected to lose, Michigan, which brings his total to 8. Now heading to the Republican side, Donald Trump has won South Carolina, Nevada, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Vermont, Georgia, Virginia, Massachusetts, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, and Hawaii, making his total 14. Ted Cruz has won Alaska, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Maine, and Idaho, 6 states in total. As you can probably tell, we have had 3 more candidates drop out. These candidates are Jeb Bush, Ben Carson, and very recently, Marco Rubio. Well, after that mouthful, let's move on to the interview. I had the opportunity to connect with a local teenager who attended a caucus several weeks ago. So I'll get right into the questions and her answers. Was this your first time attending a caucus with your parents? If not, how many times have you attended? Yes, first time. What candidate was your family voting for and why? Rubio, because we agree with his policies on smaller government, he is pro-life, and he believes in capitalism. He is good on foreign affairs, the military, and would nominate a conservative Supreme Court justice. What was your impression of the atmosphere? Did everyone seem excited, happy, or otherwise? They were excited to participate. Was the caucusing process easy to understand, or were you unsure of what was happening? No, it was hard to follow. The process to elect delegates for the different assemblies seems complicated. How long were you at the caucus site? We were there about 2.5 hours, but it depended on how many people attended, so some didn't last as long. Did there seem to be an overwhelming amount of support for a certain candidate? Cruz and Rubio were the most popular. Were there any candidates that seemed to have very few supporters? Trump, Carson, and Kasich were not very popular. Since you were not yet able to officially vote, can you explain why your parents brought you to the caucus? I wanted to go and learn more about the caucus process. It is important for people to participate in elections and be educated on the process and candidates. You mentioned previously that your brother was running to be a delegate. Can you explain this process? He stood up and introduced himself and explained why he wanted to be a delegate and who he was supporting and why. The people at the caucus then voted on which of the volunteers they wanted to be delegates. If you could change one thing about the caucus or its process, what would it be? It took too long. Is there anything else you want to say about your caucus experience? It was interesting and good to see what it is all about. Since it's a little complicated, it was good to start learning about it early, so the next time I'll understand it better. Alright, listeners, time to launch into this segment's poll numbers. This time we are going to be using an ABC News poll. For the Republicans, Donald Trump is leading, not surprisingly, with 34%. Cruz is the closest behind him with 24%. Kasich is in last with 13%. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton is still holding on to her lead with 49%. Sanders is right behind her, however, with 42%. Well, that's all I have for you today. Also, if you haven't been watching the Republican or Democratic debates, make sure to tune in once the general election starts. They provide you with useful information on the candidates and the political process. However, some information is not as useful. I hope you enjoyed this segment of Campaign Brain, and I will see you all next time.
Hither at Calvert, we host many writers, and by writers, I mean extremely talented writers. In this segment, Calvert Compositions, Raquel Wilt readeth a piece submitted by a student. Enjoy.
Good morrow to thee, ladies and gentlemen. This is Raquel, and thee art listening to the noble Calvert Compositions segment, whither we readeth stories, poems, and other writ given to us by scholars directly from Calvert. This time around, I'll be reading to thee a wondrous poem by the equally wondrous Tory. Now, the thing that I very much treasure about this poem is that it manages to be comical while being accurate and sounding perfectly balanced. So sitteth back, hark, and enjoy. Fancy words escape me. Having a rhyme scheme is only a dream, but I'll try, for the sake of English. This surely lacks meter. My awful alliteration is awkward. I'm not a poet, and I know it, but I'd try. Ideas for similes ran away like deer, and personification laughed in my face. Metaphors were butterflies constantly flying away. I tried and failed to catch them. My well of clever ideas dried up, and left me with this, but I tried, for the sake of English. Methinks we can all relate to Tory's plight hither. That will be all for the present day, my listeners, and I hopeth that thee very much enjoyed this month's reading. Thank you all for listening, and cometh back for another creative writing reading.
Christina is back with our second installment of the Empowerment segment. Shall we heareth how Shakespeare looked at life?
Welcome back, y'all. It's Christina here, coming to you with another episode of the Empowerment segment. Just to let y'all know, before delving in, all the quotes will be in a Shakespearean context. Now, enough jabbering. Sit back, relax, and get ready to be empowered, Shakespearean style. As most of us realize, it's usually best to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. With this, Shakespeare believed that we should love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Having this in mind, he believed what I now realize, that all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. But keep in mind that throughout your life, no legacy is so rich as honesty, because nothing will come of nothing. Now, you may be thinking, oh, woe is me, to have heard what I have heard, hear what I hear, but this is the short and long of it. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the remainder of the podcast. See you next time, or, as Shakespeare would proclaim, see thee next time.
We're taking Thee on an adventure. Well, sort of. Joshua is back with his segment of awe-inspiring adventures to whither that gent goeth all over the planet on his boat.
Welcome listeners to now the fourth segment of Joshua's awe-inspiring adventures. And as thou hast already hopefully noticed, we are all speaking in Shakespearean, so therefore my segment will best be spoken in Shakespearean. Concluded, be it the present day, we will tend to the land of Cambodia, and I will talk about their amazingly like a silver-bowed temples and Cambodia's civil war. With a population slightly larger than Washington State, Cambodia is a quite small and poor country. 'Tis a constitutional monarchy, like Thailand, and tourism is its second best source of income. It hath a history, recording back to early times and hath suffered one of the worst human genocides in modern history. 75% of Cambodian people worketh in agriculture, 10% worketh in the tourist industry, and 'tis home to some of the world's most quaint temples. We west in Siem Reap, a town in the northwest part of Cambodia, for 4 days, and while we west thither, we wenteth to see what Siem Reap is famous for, its temples. Siem Reap, at which our translated to the English language means tied to feet, after the failed invasion of Cambodia by Thailand in 1431. Thither are over 90 temples in Siem Reap. Most of those folk has a moat and an outer mirror that surrounded the temple to protect the people that hath lived near it. The first temple we went to was the Grand Temple hath called Baiman, which sooth means the temple with many faces. 'Twas hath built in 1100, and the super fusty temple liveth up to its name. At which hour Baiman was first hath built, has 200 faces of the Buddha, though erosion and such has destroyed some of the faces, and now that there are 148 hath left, that's still a gross amount of faces on one building. On some of the walls was carving of Vietnam invaders, or Cham, as those gents hath called those folk, attacking Cambodia. The temples was mostly hath built out of sandstone, not an ideal material for building giant temples, but 'twas the best material those gents hast at the time. As a result, many sculptures, carvings, and parts of the temple has now eroded hence. The Naga, or snake, it has 7 heads that represented the rainbow, and the Singha, or lion, are engraved on all the temples, for those gents was the guardians of the bridges and the gateways. Carved into the walls of the temples was Aspara, or celestial dancers, and the Twalabala, or male guardians. Ik, the Garuda, is a Haksar, half-winged creature, and is the guardian of the sky in Buddhism. Those gents was sculptured holding up the Buddha, or heaven. Other major temple that we went to is the one which Siem Reap is best known for. Angkor Wat, or City Temple, is huge and took 50,000 workers 37 years to build it. That's a gross amount of people and a gross amount of time. Like the pyramids in Egypt, the kings of Cambodia have built bigger temples than the last king to maketh those folk selves behold more powerful. Angkor Wat is the biggest temple ever hath built in Cambodia. Based on that, those gents bethink the king who hath built Angkor Wat was the mightiest of those folk. To this date, it hath been the most like a silver-boat temple I hast gone to, and I hast been to a ton of temples located all around the world. On its walls, it hath carvings of the gods and demons using the snake to churn the oceans, battles between the gods and demons, and carvings of heaven and hell. I eke wenteth to the tallest tower, whether above I could see around for miles. Besides visiting the temples, we eke wenteth to a museum about the landmines that was placed in Cambodia during the Vietnam War and the Civil War in Cambodia. One thing I did not knoweth about the Vietnam War was that many of the Viet Cong hid over in Cambodia and disguised themselves as villagers. The U.S. then carpet-bombed eastern Cambodia. Unfortunately, not a gross amount of the Viet Cong was half killed, and entire villages was wiped out by the bombs. Those gents estimate that 260,000 Cambodian people died. Now to talk a little bit about Cambodia's history, mainly its civil war. Cambodia gained independence from France in 1953 after being under their rule for 90 years. In 1960, Prince Norodom Sihanouk, I desire to pronounce his name right, was elected as head of state, and from 1964 faced an underground Marxist movement, the Khmer Rouge, which was headed by the infamous Pol Pot. In 1970, the prince was overthrown by a coup headed by Lieutenant General Lon Nol, who hath supported the United States, and that gent pledged to throweth out the communist forces. However, the prince hath left the country and formed a government in exile hath supported by the Khmer Rouge. Forces loyal to the prince, mainly Khmer Rouge fighters, gained control of Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, in April 1975. Cambodia was renamed the Democratic Kampuchea under the control of the main Khmer Rouge vanguard, Pol Pot. 'Tis estimated that 3.5 million people was half killed in over 3,000 killing fields around the country under the communist regime. Mainly the educated was half killed, and many more was forced to worketh on agriculture. About the prince, that gent was placed under house arrest. After a series of invasions of Vietnam by the Khmer Rouge, the Vietnamese army invaded Democratic Kampuchea, Cambodia, in 1978. By 1979, the Vietnam Army captured Phnom Penh, and the Democratic Kampuchea was renamed the People's Republic of Kampuchea. However, the Khmer Rouge still fought on, especially near the Cambodian-Thailand border, and Pol Pot was still alive. The Vietnamese, each had to deal with anti-Vietnamese fighters founded in 1982, half led by, now free, Prince Norodom Sihanouk. Those gents had the backing of the Chinese government. Meanwhile, thousands of refugees have left Cambodia to the safety of Thailand. After the withdrawal of Vietnamese forces in 1989, the country of what we know as the present day Cambodia was formed. However, the Khmer Rouge still fought on, at which hour the UN hath tried to make a peace between Cambodia and the Khmer Rouge in 1992. Of course, the Khmer Rouge rejected it. Finally, in 1997, Pol Pot's comrades rejected that gent on Shoeth trial, and Pol Pot was sentenced to house arrest for life. That gent hath kicked the bucket in 1998, and the Khmer Rouge was finally defeated in 1999. I desire thee hath learned something new about the history of Cambodia. Otherwise, thee must be some expert on Cambodian history, a Cambodian citizen, or mine best friend. Come your ways. If it be true thee art any of the above, and thee saw that one of mine facts was incorrect, thou hast the authority to flip mine boat. Concluded be it, grant you mercy for listening, and this is Joshua.
Doth thee recall Ava's Awakening Act 1? Well, a second act is on its way, and to celebrate not only Ava's returneth, but also Shakespeare-Day, we hath decided to make it a teaser trailer, if it be truth he wilt. Enjoy. Jason doth take Megan's handeth and helpeth that lady form a chord on the guitar. As this scene is occurring, Ava and Jen can be seen strolling down the footpath approaching Jason's dwelling.
Methinks this is a valorous idea, Jen. We very much should us both take in to Jason and getteth this settled. I very much just wanteth to be beast friends with Jason, nothing more.
Jen then spots Megan on Jason's porch and speaketh to Ava in a whisper, but a loud whisper full of outrage. They both cease walking.
Ava! Look! Is that Megan? That's Megan! What is she doing there? Why, ye had Jason's guitar! What's going on?
Art thee kidding me? She can't doff this. I can't believe it this is happening. This is base, co-equal for her. She's getting back at us, Jen. I knoweth she was going to doff something, but this? She hath committed a truly grievous act.
What art going to doth? This is madness! Ava, what shouldest we doth?
Wait, giveth me a second. I hast an idea. Two can playeth this game.
Ava doth take her phone out of her pocket and beginneth texting Jason.
Ava, pray what art thee doing? With whom doth seek counsel?
I am sending Jason a text. This'll worketh if it be true he has his phone with him. Recall the other day at which hour Jason hath shown us his pet serpent, and we both were struck into shock and started shrieking?
Huzzah! Thy thinking hath proved quite magnificent, for not a moment did I doubt that thee would create such a glorious plan.
I present to thee my message to Jason. Jason, we seek thy assistant. 'Tis a matter of great urgency. The she-devil Megan hath no good intention. Her presence doth bring unspeakable evils, for only today didst the lady hurteth Jen and taketh her phone. Do not seek Jen and I, for we are merely a few steps away. Do not inform Megan of our close proximity. Remove her presence at once.
Jason pulls his phone out of his pocket and readeth Ava's text. He glances up the passage and sees Ava and Jen. He casts down again at the text.
Ho, Megan, halt a minute. I wanted to show thee something. Be back momentarily.
Alas, what is it?
It's a wonder to behold.
Oi, I enjoy the wonderment of surprise.
Jason goeth into the dwelling and cometh back holding his beloved pet reptilian serpent Sammy, a black 5-foot-long ghastly creature. Jason sneaketh up on Megan and places the dark serpent on her back and neck. Megan sees the ghastly reptilian and shrills with fear.
Oi, Megan, saith good morrow to Sammy.
God, getteth this vile creature off of me!
Megan is beyond distressed by Sammy and doth runneth off the porch and down the passage facing Ava and Jen, still screeching.
Ho, Megan, what is the matter? Thee behold like thee just saw a spirit of the dead.
Hush, Jen! I was nearly mauled by Jason's no more intellect than a stone pet serpent. That lad is mad. Thee two can hast that, gent. Gah, I feel it's like that ghastly reptilian is still on myself. Is it on me?
No, but I would keepeth running if it be true I was thee. Serpents like such can creep very much fast. Oh no, it is coming down the walkway.
Needless to saith, Megan ranneth like mad hence about as a human can runneth. Ava and Jen cackle with much delight and meeteth Jason out on his stoop.
Jason, thy heated our call to war with great success.
Thanketh me not, kind lady, for I had not one whit concerning Megan's treatment of you and Ava.
'Tis nothing. I am only thankful that thee was able to decipher my message, and tooketh the necessary action. We wast actually coming over to speak to thee. We hasn't any idea Megan was thither with thee. I don't bethink she'll be coming back in short order, but we dist wantedeth to speak to thee about a worrying trouble.
Whateth is the matter? Is all things not well?
Yea, all is fine. Jen and I just wanted to make something clear. This is contrary, so I'm just going to say it. Jason, can we all just best acquaintances? I mean, thee art just my cousin, right? Since I'm not, scourging for a sweetheart, well, doth thee art thou not advised?
Methinks I knoweth what thee mean, and I concur. We're acquaintances. You and Jen are my closest companions, and I very much don't want that to changeth, ever.
I concur, Jason. Thee and Ava both mean as much as the heavenly body earth to I, and I don't want it heavenly fights and superstitions to this burden. So indeed, we needeth to just beast friends.
Indeed, Jen is correct, so we probably don't have to speak of this anymore. So, let us converse about Sammy and that she-devil Megan. Indeed, that is something of top priority to speaketh of.
Jen, Jason, and Ava all snicker at the mention and share their own tales of the event, which the three of those folk retell about every day for months, and co-equal giveth the catastrophic event a name. Megan meeteth Sammy. 'Tis time for an interview. This episode, we welcome one of Calvert's very own students for an interview with Raquel.
Greetings, listeners. This is Raquel, thy loyal interviewer, with our second student spotlight. This present day, I am very pleased to present to thee, Raquel, a scholar from our Calvert school, who passionately writeth on her free time.
Thank you, it's an honor to be here. Oh, and Raquel, before we start, I was wondering if you were doing anything silly this episode since April Fool's is so close.
I doubteth it. We don't deal with tomfoolery on this radio. Even approaching the month of April, Raquel.
Oh, that's a shame. Anyways, thank you for having me.
Indeed. Now alloweth us to begin with the very first question. What is it liketh, living in Nicaragua in comparison to Florida or the U.S.?
Well, I have to say that it's extremely different, living in Nicaragua versus living in Florida or the U.S. in general. The livelihood in Nicaragua is certainly not as high a standard as you would find in the U.S., And living in Nicaragua grants a certain Wild West type of living that you don't really experience in the US at all. There are still people who ride horses into town here in Nicaragua, and you can see carriages riding into town as well. And people here still, get water from the well and wash their clothes in the river and live in very small, sometimes menial conditions, which you don't necessarily see as much in the US. It might still be in the US, but you don't see it. It's not something that you experience in everyday life. And living in the US, you get accustomed to a certain amount of variety and just always having something, being able to have something at hand in the US. You're never lacking. It is the land of milk and honey, or it used to be.
What is one of the main differences you've seeneth between the two nations?
Well, one of the main differences that I've noticed between the two is, and I'm talking about mainly Florida here, is the people, and that is mostly because of the culture, I have to say, but I have lived in the same neighborhood in Florida when I do go there, for most of my entire life, so 16 years. And in Nicaragua, I've also lived where I've lived for 16 years, and I know everyone by name where I live here in Nicaragua. I know everyone. I talk to a lot of the people here, and they talk to me, and it's very friendly, and there's a lot of exchange. Like, you can't pass someone in the street in Nicaragua and not say hi to them, even if you're across the street. You just need to acknowledge their presence. And if you walk into a restaurant, everyone will look up at you and say hello or welcome you into the restaurant, even if they're just sitting there eating. Where, at least my experience living in Florida on and off my entire life, is that I don't know anyone from the neighborhood I've lived in my entire life. I don't know anyone. And people are very closed off, and maybe once you start talking to them, they're very friendly, but they don't acknowledge your presence unless they really need to, which is sometimes a blessing for me because I get extremely awkward in Nicaragua, but you can sense that difference in culture when you meet the people.
Dost thou have any unusual skills?
Well, I do have, I suppose, an unusual skill that I can roll a coin across my knuckles, and I can do this very well on both hands, and I can do it back and forth, and I can toss a coin and catch it and then roll it across my knuckles again. So I guess that's sort of my parlor trick there. So, yeah, that's an unusual skill.
Doth thee speaketh any languages other than English?
Yes, I actually speak Spanish and German in addition to English. Spanish, I've just sort of learned it as I've grown up because the main language here in Nicaragua is Spanish. And my mother speaks Spanish, so I've just picked it up. I've never really had lessons until now in Calvert. But I've just picked up how to speak Spanish, so I've done that my entire life. And German, I actually went to Germany to learn German. I can speak it fairly well, and understand it better.
How many stories would thee sayeth thou hast in the worketh right now?
Wow, I would say, and I honestly don't know, because every other day I just open up a new document and I start writing something new, which usually I end up getting a bigger plot for anything that I'm writing and end up making it a big project, which is slightly foolish since I have about, in the works, like right now, that I've, at least this year, started working on about 14 different books and short stories and projects that I've just started writing on, which, who knows, I might never get back to because my documents folder is a graveyard of stories that I have not visited for a very long time. But hopefully I'll stick to these.
What is deemed thy most pleasurable part of the writing process, and wherefore?
Well, now I'm taking liberty with the meaning of writing process, and I'm going to say that my favorite part of the writing process is when you are free writing, when you're writing with confidence and you know what's going to happen next, and the words are flowing, and suddenly you're not writing anymore, you're watching a projection in your mind that you are controlling, and it is your universe, and you are, yes. But, yes, that would be, my favorite part of the writing process, because I really enjoy being able to, I don't want to say manipulate my own world, because that makes me sound like a dictator, but that is basically what I do enjoy about writing most. Also the world building, and the, character development. Those two I'm just throwing out there because they're absolutely amazing.
What is thy relationship between thy writing and the music that graceth your ears?
This is actually a really cool question. I would say that mostly when I listen to music before I write. Most of the time, I don't think I can write and listen to music very well at the same time. But to get inspired, I listen to, I guess, a lot of different music that people don't find unless they go into the recesses of YouTube. But I would say that this music really influences the way that I write, because I notice that the rhythm that I write for specific stories is different, and that is mainly because I like listening to a certain genre of music before I write on that story. Or say a song that I really like, and maybe the lyrics will inspire me for another story, and you can almost hear that the mood and tone of the song in the writing project, which I think could go for anyone, but I really think that's quite interesting about writing and music. They really influence each other.
Doth thee like to hark music while writing?
Well, I think I answered that I generally don't listen to music while I'm writing, unless it's instrumental, or a very quiet instrumental. But beforehand, I listen to it a lot, and that's usually what gets me in the mood to start writing.
Is hither anything in particular that aids to thy concentration?
I keep my headphones on, which sounds so strange, but 90% of the day I just have my headphones on, and I might not be listening to anything, but it really helps block out sort of the world around me, which helps because around my house right now there are people and construction and just things, so it's really nice to have that little bubble that the headphones provide. And also just getting into the mindset of being able to write, if that's what the concentration is for, by having, I don't know, a clean desk, a different environment than you usually do school in. That would help a lot. Yes, but for concentration for other things, I do actually listen to a bit of music if I'm going to do a school project that I've been procrastinating on or something, so that it's at least a little bit more enjoyable.
Thank thee, Raquel, for thy most wondrous presence hither the present day, and for responding to my humble questions.
Thank you very much for having me. It was really fun. It was really a pleasure.
That shall beest all for this eve, and thank thee for listening. I desire everyone hast a most wondrous day, and that we shall beest graced by thy presence next month.
We hither at Calvert hast a stout bond from music, and what's a CHS Radio episode without our music corner? Hither is Rachel with our music segment.
Greetings, audience. Welcometh back to CHS Radio's Music Corner. Whether thou listenest to Dance, Drake, or Demi Lovato, I am hither to giveth thou the latest news from the music world. As always, we will start with the releases. April 1st doth kick off with Blackstone Cherry's new album, Kentucky. Explosions in the Sky releases The Wilderness also on April 1st, and The Heavy releases Hurt and the Merciless. April 1st also sees The Last Shadow Puppets with their new album, Everything You've Come to Expect. Moderate hath I, and Mogwai hath Atomic both on April 1st. Pears releases Green Star on April 1st. Synth pop band Pet Shop Boys hath Summer coming out on April 1st, and Terrace Martin hath Velvet Portraits. Weezer releases a self-titled album on April 1st. April 1st wraps up with Yesayer's new album Amen and Goodbye. Next up is April 8th, starting with All Saints' album Red Flag. Deftones releases Gore, and Frightened Rabbit releases Painting of a Panic Attack, both on April 8th. Chris Calico releases their new album Go on April 8th. M83 hath Junk coming out on April 8th, and Mayor Hawthorne hath Man About Town. April 8th also hath Music Soul Child with Life on Earth, Nikki and the Dove with Everybody's Heart is Broken Now, and Tim Hecker with Love Streams. Balkan brass artist Fanfare Chokarlia starts April 15th off with their new album Onwards to Mars, along with Bare Hand's new album You'll Pay for This. Jay Dia releases his posthumous album The Diary on April 15th. April 15th will also see PJ Harvey's new album The Hope 6 Demolition Project and Sturgill Simpson's album A Sailor's Guide to Earth. Suns ties off April 15th with their new album Hold/Still. Zuzu releases Plays the Music of Twin Peaks on April 16th. Dememe has Classic Carpenters coming out on April 22nd. April 29th starts with world beat artist Afro-Celt Sound System with The Source. Brian Eno releases The Ship, and the Boxer Rebellion releases Ocean by Ocean, both on April 29th. KDB releases Honey on April 29th. April 29th sees Less Than Jake with Live from Astoria, and Talia with Latina. Finally, Travis rounds off the month with Everything at Once, and Tremonti hath Dust. Lastly, our TBD for this issue is Drake with Views from the Six. As I am sure thee all knoweth, music releases has the tendency to changeth, so please know that I doth mine best to keep this as up-to-date as mine source allows. That being said, John Bon Jovi hath said himself that the band's new album, Burning Bridges, will actually be coming out this fall. Unfortunately, I hast runneth out of things to future for the time being, so we will moveth right into the recommendation. 'Tis quite clear that a lot of us hither at Calvert, and likely those beyond these four metaphorical walls, hast been horrifically stressed and on edge lately. Personally, I turn to music when times get tough, which is why I want to share some songs from two of mine personal playlists. Up first is the one I hast entitled Anxiety Jam, which is for songs that can help take it the edge off if I play them loud enough. I mean, mind thy eardrums, children. Number 1 on the list is Do It Again by Breakstop and Robin. In mine booketh of classification, 'tis filed under electronic, and it hath a bass-shaking beat that carries all the way throughout the song. The vocals are light, and the lyrics, while they do have a story, can be pretty mindless if they are in it for the music. 'Tis very rhythmic, and there is not much lapse in the beat except for a slightly quieter interlude. Next up is The Great Escape by Boys Like Girls. You know those songs that carry with them that feeling of summer? 'Tis almost like this nostalgia, and you can see the grass and feel the wind, and they are just back. That is what this is, at least for me. It hath a steady rhythm with a louder chorus and a softer interlude that drops off only to snap right back. The last one on this particular playlist is Afterlife by Ingrid Michaelson, one of mine personal favorites. Just turn up the volume and close thy eyes, because this song will engulf thee and allow thee to forget about life for a while. The rhythm is insanely catchy, and it holds a steady beat throughout most of the song, dropping off for a minute when the music stops at the interlude. But that is probably one of mine favorite parts of this song. Methinks 'tis probably the bridge where the music cuts off, but the drums thunder back in and slowly gain volume and power until the song is back in full swing. 'Tis just generally a fun song, fun to sing along to, and really cheerful, and the lyrics themselves are particularly inspirational. If thou hast somehow not heard Ingrid Michaelson before, her voice is absolutely gorgeous, and there is some nice vocalization that goes on later in the song. The next playlist is one I hast been favoring a lot lately, called Music Therapy. I hast compiled a collection of songs for when I am anxious, slightly melancholy, feeling down, or basically any range of potentially negative emotions. 'Tis mostly made up of relaxing or mellow music, though it does hast a few faster-paced songs, and quite a bit of Panic at the Disco. I will put the full-length playlist on our Spotify. Just note that it will link you to my personal Spotify profile, where I am no longer responsible for the content that you choose to listen to. One of mine current favorites off of this one is Mind Doodles by Alec Plonique. It is pretty long, almost 7 minutes, and it hath this weird sort of upbeat but chill vibe about it. The vocals start out soft and slowly grow in volume, but they are smooth and stay relatively level. The beat is strange in that 'tis slightly faster, but soft almost. The instrumentals in the song are really interesting and really lend to the competing vibes. A recent discovery of mine is Stay Alive by Jose Gonzalez. I cannot express how much I adore this song. I could literally listen to it for hours on end. The vocals are very soft, very level, and just straight up gorgeous. I'm telling you, you could ascend to another dimension, it's so calming. The beat stays really light throughout the duration of the song, and the lyrics are bittersweet depending on the perspective. A great song to listen to before bed, or if you're just generally trying to relax. Our next rec was actually passed on to me by a good friend, and it is Go Solo by Tom Rosenthal. It starts off with some gentle piano, but it doesn't really get louder as it progresses. The vocals remain light, level, and sleepy throughout the song, and there is some soft vocalization about halfway through. The feel of the lyrics really depend on the mood. In mine eyes, they are positive and really nice, but they can be vaguely melancholy at times. Yeah, so much for me pretending to keep this short. Next up is Let It All Go by Birdie featuring Rhodes. This one starts off with melancholy piano and soft vocals that grow stronger and louder as the song progresses. The chorus is beautiful and rather inspirational to me, and the lyrics as a whole are gorgeous, as are the voices singing them. I really enjoy the contrast of Birdie and Rhodes' voice and how the strength grows, but the beat really doesn't, so it remains sort of mellow throughout the duration of the song. Alright, to tie off our recs, we hast French Classed by BLA-JK, the title of which slightly throws thee off. This one is more upbeat, and I tend to lean towards it if my spirits need lifting. The intro is lovely, especially with the lyrics, which are beautiful overall, but especially catching at the beginning. It hath a smooth beat throughout that remains uplifting while keeping a chill vibe about it. I absolutely adore the pre-chorus and the chorus in this song, and overall 'tis nothing short of artfully crafted. If any of the listeners out there are struggling, know thee are not alone, and that thou hast people to reach out to. If you are at Calvert, do not hesitate to reach out to a teacher, the other students, or to me, either at mine personal email floating around the school, or the CHS Radio email at the end of the show. Well now, my kindly kingsmen, that is all from me for this issue. If you want to share some songs that have helped you through a rough patch, I beseech thee to do so over at chsradio.tumblr.com/ask. You can also check out our Spotify to find the songs featured in the show. Finally, if thee wanteth to keep up with mine personal music tomfoolery, you can follow me on last.fm as LlamaLlama33. Have a nice month, everyone! Stay tuned for a cover of Shawn Mendes' Stitches by Natalia.
But no one's ever left me quite this long. Your words cut deeper than the night. Now I need someone to breathe me back to life. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out alive if I quit calling you my lover. Move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling on my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come help. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, just like a moth drawn to a flame. Oh, you lured me in, I couldn't sense the pain. Your bitter heart cold to the touch. Now I'm gonna reap what I sow. I'm left seeing red on my own. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out alive if I quit calling you my lover. Move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking, falling on my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come help. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Needle and the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle and the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle and the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle and the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle and the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Needle and the thread, gonna wind up dead. Needle and the thread, gotta get you out of my head. Get you out of my head. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe. Shaking, falling on my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Chirping over myself, aching, begging you to come help. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches.
We desire thou hast enjoyed this episode of CHS Radio. If it be true you'd like to keepeth in touch or wanteth to knoweth about upcoming episodes, thee can follow with us on social media. Follow with us on Twitter as CHS_radio, like us on Facebook.com/Calvert High Radio, or view our blog at chsradio.tumblr.com. We'll see thee in the next episode.
The information in today's podcast was gathered from ismyshowcancelled.com, Wikipedia, Fox.com, Vogue, Bustle.com, Real Clear Politics, Inquisitor, Google, Incompetech, and Audionautics.
For thee art about to findeth out. Get thee hence thy umbrella, and mark for thee about. Oh man. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine.
So much that it quelled.
Friends roaming.
That holy ice cream truck, Batman.
To hope thee stayeth in the... To hope... Look, that's Shakespeare, not me.
First up, why did I clap? You guys can't hear me when I clap. Blah. Okay.
Right, because this is radio. Because this is radio. Radio.
K6. I can't say that.
The final season hath already entered production and is... Ha ha ha. That was so weird.
But I am so... Okay, I'm sorry. I really need to stop skipping over the words. Okay.
I can speak, I promise.
Both shows, Legends of Tomorrow, was picked... I can't speak Shakespearean.
Shere Khan unleashes his mighty roar. He unleashes a war. Blah.
The TV Decision.
Another dramedy, James the Virgin. What? Only one James.
Instead of getting the job done. That's not right.
Anywho, Mowgli has the waist hath below.
What is one of the main differences you've seeneth between the two nations? Ugh, my tongue.
Satisfaction was cancelled by the USA after 2 seasons. I think I should record this all again in an accent.
Unleashes his mighty roar. I stumbled. What if I stumble? What if I fall? Okay. Not time for Dixie talk.
And now I'm going to try that again, because I totally just destroyed it the first time. Way to go, me.
ABC's comedy Blackish was renewed for a 3rd season, again returning this fall. Can I stop speaking in a horrible accent?
These are some of the famous lines, and if you want...
The Huntsman's Winter Ways. That's not the movie, it's Winter War. Ha ha ha. I didn't even read the script right. Okay.
Yes. I like how I just froze there, mainly because I didn't know if I was recording or not. Okay.
I doth not knoweth about thee, but that hypnosis just kept getting better. Whoa. I want a pipe and a mustache is what I want.
That lady enemies in learneth. Oh gosh, my computer turned black. Stupid computer. I kind of had that. Thanks a lot.
And what's a CHS radio without our music? What's a CHS radio? Yeah, what's a CHS radio without our music? You know, though, that makes perfect sense. Because CHS radio has... I'm going to stop talking.
What is thy relationship between thy writing and the music that graceth your ears? Fine.
Here's a tip, kids. Never assign a Shakespearean theme.
After resurrecting.
And if you want, and what did I write?
Oh my god, what? There are so many accents on this name. That's not English, thanks. That's, okay, fine. Okay, I can read fanfare. What about the Romanian part? I can tell you that in English. Neither is that. Although I suppose it is English slang. Romanian. Let's see how this sounds. How do I say this? Wow. Chokelia. I don't want to say this. Chokelia. Fanfare Chokelia. Well, I'm not gonna... Chokelia.
Snow White hath kicked the butt. Oh, and kicked the bucket. Yeah, I'm gonna restart that mic.
Like mad hence about as a human can run it. Shakespeare is too amusing for me.
And you'll find out quickly that there are lines galore. But before I quickly ran out of time, why did I have quickly in there twice? Where did that even come from?
Bulk and breast. It's fine. Chsradio. I forgot how to say it.
Maybe I should just take this line. Nah, I'll just say it.
How about I check where this person's from? Okay, well, you're from... Oh my god, you're dead? What? How are you releasing a new album?
Let me scrolling down. Oh no. Rachel, don't use that. I'm not redoing this again. Don't use that, Rachel. Oh gosh.
If I could quit laughing, that would be really helpful.
And we're back to not knowing how to pronounce people's names. He is... Well, he's something. Detect language. French. The real question is, are you actually French? Because he might be. Electronique. Listen to me trying to speak French over here.
Jason, thy heeded our call to war and with
Gonzalez. Don't ask what I'm doing.
Ben, I'm not calling you for war. No, I'm not going to fight you.
What is this?
It's a recording. Please.
Sup, dog?
Okay, nice.
Depending on the perspective. Birds.
Yep. That's as much emotion you're gonna get out of me when I'm doing Shakespearean. Gosh. Thanks a lot. Nah.
It starts off with some gentle piano, but it does not really get... Okay, I can't speak like this. Who does not use contractions? I say as I said, do not, instead of not. Oh my god, I can't anymore.